The cold, hard concrete pressed against Liam's cheek, the faint smell of exhaust fumes clinging to the night air. He lay there, not moving, not thinking, just existing in the profound stillness that had finally settled after weeks of unbearable noise in his head. It wasn't a dramatic leap, no grand gesture, just a quiet, almost accidental slip from the edge of the overpass. The city lights blurred above him, a distant, indifferent constellation. He wasn't afraid. He wasn't even sad, not anymore. Just empty. For months, the thought had been a constant companion. I just wanted to stop. Not it as in life, but it as in the relentless pressure, the suffocating expectations, the gnawing feeling of being utterly lost. He'd tried everything, new jobs, new cities, new relationships, but the void inside only seemed to grow. He wasn't suicidal in the conventional sense. He didn't crave oblivion. He craved clarity, purpose, a reason to get up in the morning that didn't feel like a performance. He craved a way to live that didn't feel like a slow, agonizing death of his spirit. And tonight, he'd simply run out of options, out of energy, out of hope for finding that way. The irony wasn't lost on him. He wasn't seeking death. He was seeking an end to the agony of not knowing how to truly live. In a world obsessed with success, achievement, and constant forward momentum, what happens when you find yourself utterly adrift? When the compass of your life spins wildly, pointing nowhere, and the very act of living feels like an insurmountable burden. Many who contemplate ending their lives aren't driven by a desire for death, but by a profound, agonizing confusion about how to live. They are not seeking oblivion, but an escape from the suffocating weight of existential lostness, a yearning for purpose that remains stubbornly out of reach. We are taught to chase goals, to build careers, to accumulate. But who teaches us how to navigate the terrifying emptiness when all those external markers fail to fill the inner void? What if the solution isn't about finding a new path, but about understanding the very nature of lostness itself? What if the wisdom to truly live lies not in a grand discovery, but in a subtle shift of perspective, a compassionate embrace of our own vulnerability? Join us as we explore the delicate truth that many don't want to die. They just don't know how to live, and discover how ancient wisdom offers a profound lens to illuminate the way forward. The tale of Maya and the empty canvas. Maya was an artist, or at least she used to be. Her studio apartment, once vibrant with the scent of oil paints and turpentine, now felt like a mausoleum of unfinished dreams. Canvases, stark and white, leaned against the walls, mocking her with their emptiness. She was in her late 30s, and by all external measures, she was doing well. Her digital art, a practical pivot she'd made years ago, brought in a steady income, enough to live comfortably in a bustling city. Her friends envied her freedom, her seemingly unburdened existence. Yet, every morning, the same heavy blanket of dread would descend. She'd stare at her reflection, a stranger with tired eyes, and the thought would whisper, "What's the point?" It wasn't a sudden onset. It had crept in slowly, like a persistent fog. First, it was the joy draining from her art. What once felt like a passionate calling became just another task. Then, her relationships felt superficial, her conversations hollow. She'd go through the motions, meeting friends for coffee, attending gallery openings, even dating, but it all felt like a performance. She was playing the role of Maya, the free-spirited artist, but inside, she felt nothing but a vast, echoing emptiness. She tried to fill it. She traveled. She bought new things. She even volunteered at a local shelter, hoping that helping others would ignite something within her. For a brief moment, there would be a flicker, a sense of purpose, but it would quickly fade, leaving her more exhausted than before. Her family, loving and well-meaning, offered advice that only deepened her despair. You just need to find a new passion, Maya. Maybe you're working too hard. Have you tried meditation? She'd nod, smile, and retreat, feeling a profound sense of failure. How could she explain that it wasn't about finding something new, but about the fundamental inability to feel anything deeply anymore? It wasn't sadness, not exactly. It was a terrifying neutrality, a sense of being disconnected from the very fabric of life. She'd lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, the silence amplifying the internal void. She didn't want to die. The thought of non-existence was terrifying. But the thought of continuing to live like this, day after day, feeling nothing, being nothing, was equally, if not more, terrifying. She felt trapped in a life she didn't know how to live, a life that felt increasingly meaningless, an empty canvas she no longer knew how to fill. Bridge to wisdom. Maya's struggle, the profound sense of meaninglessness and lostness, resonates deeply with a universal human dilemma. In a world that constantly demands we define ourselves by what we do, what we achieve, and what we possess, what happens when those external markers lose their luster? When the very act of living feels devoid of purpose, it's not death we crave, but an end to the agony of not knowing how to truly live. This isn't about clinical depression, though it can certainly coexist. It's about the existential void, the spiritual hunger that no external success can satisfy. Ancient wisdom, particularly Buddhist philosophy, offers a radical, compassionate framework for understanding this lostness, not as a flaw to be fixed, but as an invitation to a deeper, more authentic way of being, a path to rediscover the inherent richness of existence. The commentary, a Buddhist perspective. Maya's experience of feeling disconnected and purposeless, despite external success, is a poignant illustration of dukkha, suffering, arising from avidya, ignorance, and tanha, craving, clinging, for a self that is permanent and inherently meaningful. The core issue isn't a desire for death, but a profound existential dukkha, the suffering that arises from the fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of self and reality. The Four Noble Truths of Existential Lostness. 1. The truth of suffering, dukkha, the feeling of emptiness, meaninglessness, and not knowing how to live is a form of suffering. It's the deep dissatisfaction that arises when external achievements fail to bring lasting inner peace or purpose. This is the suffering of being adrift, of a spirit slowly dying. 2. The truth of the origin of suffering. Samadaya, the origin of this existential lostness, is not a lack of external things, but the craving for a fixed, permanent self and the clinging to external conditions, like success, relationships, or even artistic passion, to provide meaning. This craving is rooted in avidya, the ignorance of anicca, impermanence, dukkha, suffering, and anatta, not self. We mistakenly believe that meaning is something to be found outside ourselves, or that our identity is tied to what we do or possess. 3. The truth of the cessation of suffering. Nirodha, the cessation of this suffering, comes not from finding a new purpose externally, but from realizing the inherent meaning and richness of the present moment, and from letting go of the craving for a fixed self or external validation. It's the liberation that comes from understanding that life's meaning is not something to be found, but something to be created and experienced in each moment. 4. The truth of the path to the cessation of suffering. Magga, this path is the Noble Eightfold Path, which guides us in cultivating a profound understanding of reality and a way of living that naturally brings forth purpose and meaning. The Noble Eightfold Path to rediscovering life's purpose. Right view, Samadhi. This is the foundational understanding that life's meaning is not a fixed entity to be discovered, but a dynamic process of engagement with the present moment. It's the realization that clinging to external achievements or a fixed identity leads to suffering. Right view helps us see that true purpose arises from aligning with the impermanent, interconnected nature of existence, and understanding that our worth is not tied to what we do, but to who we are, a part of the vast, unfolding universe. Right intention, Samma-sakkappa. Instead of the intention to find a purpose out there, the intention shifts to cultivating inner peace, compassion, and wisdom. It's the intention to live authentically, to connect deeply with each moment, and to contribute positively to the world, not out of obligation, but out of a genuine desire to alleviate suffering, both one's own and others. Right speech, Sammavaka. This involves speaking truthfully and kindly, both to others and to oneself. It means refraining from self-deprecating thoughts or narratives that reinforce the feeling of lostness. It's about using language that affirms life and possibility. Right action, Sammakamanta. This involves engaging in actions that are wholesome and beneficial, not just for oneself, but for others. For Maya, this might mean returning to her art, not for external validation or a fixed purpose, but as an act of mindful creation, an expression of her inner being. It's about acting with integrity and compassion in all aspects of life. Right livelihood, Samma-ajiva. This extends beyond just a job. It's about engaging in activities that nourish the spirit and contribute to well-being. If Maya's digital art felt empty, right livelihood might involve finding ways to infuse it with more meaning or exploring other avenues that genuinely resonate with her values, even if they don't offer immediate external rewards. Right effort, Sammavayama. This is the effort to prevent unwholesome states like despair, apathy, or the feeling of lostness from arising, and to cultivate wholesome states like joy, gratitude, and a sense of connection. It's the effort to consistently bring awareness to the present moment and to gently redirect the mind away from self-defeating narratives. Right mindfulness, Sammasati. This is the direct practice of being fully present with whatever arises, without judgment. When the feeling of emptiness or lostness arises, Maya would simply observe it. There is the feeling of emptiness. She would notice its qualities, its subtle shifts, without getting caught in its story. This practice allows for a compassionate witnessing of inner states, creating space for them to transform. Right concentration, Sammasamadhi. Through sustained mindfulness and right effort, one can develop a deeper state of mental calm and focus. This allows for a clearer, more stable perception of reality, leading to profound insights into the interconnectedness of all things and the inherent meaning that exists in every moment, regardless of external circumstances. The way forward, cultivating presence and purpose. For those who feel lost, who don't know how to live, the path forward isn't about finding a grand, external purpose, but about cultivating a profound sense of presence and discovering meaning in the ordinary. Here's how to begin. 1. Embrace the present moment. The feeling of lostness often stems from dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Practice mindfulness by focusing on your breath, the sensations in your body, or the sounds around you. Engage fully in simple daily activities, eating, walking, washing dishes. Meaning is often found in the richness of the here and now. 2. Redefine purpose. Shift your understanding of purpose from a grand, external goal to a moment-to-moment intention. Your purpose can be to be kind, to be present, to learn, to grow, to connect. Each mindful action, however small, can be an act of purpose. 3. Engage with compassion. Turn your attention outwards. Offer kindness and support to others, even in small ways. Volunteering, listening actively to a friend, or simply offering a genuine smile can create a sense of connection and meaning that transcends personal struggles. 4. Cultivate gratitude. Even in moments of despair, there are always things to be grateful for. The warmth of the sun, a cup of tea, a kind word. Consciously practicing gratitude shifts your perspective from what's missing to what's abundant, slowly filling the void. 5. Connect with nature. Spend time outdoors. Observe the cycles of nature, the changing seasons, the growth of a plant, the flow of water. Nature is a powerful teacher of impermanence and interconnectedness, offering a sense of belonging and perspective. 6. Seek authentic connection. Share your feelings of lostness with a trusted friend, family member, or a therapist. Breaking the silence and allowing yourself to be vulnerable can be a powerful step towards healing and rediscovering connection. You are not alone in this journey. In the quiet moments, when the world's demands fade, what is the true nature of the emptiness you feel? Is it a longing for death, or a profound yearning for a way to truly live, to find meaning beyond the superficial? What if the purpose you seek isn't out there, waiting to be discovered, but is woven into the very fabric of your being, waiting to be awakened through presence, compassion, and a radical acceptance of life's impermanent dance? The world often tells us to find our path, to chase our dreams. But sometimes, the deepest wisdom lies in realizing that the path is created by walking, and meaning is found in the simple, profound act of being. If this message resonates with your own journey of lostness, share it with someone who might be silently searching for a way to truly live. Let's illuminate the path forward, together. Namaste.